Hello, it's Tom with Digital Foundry taking a look at Mantis Burn Racing running on PS4 Pro. This is special, it's our first full visual and frame rate analysis of a game using Sony's new machine running at 4K natively, as compared directly to a standard PS4 release running at 1080p. Yes, it may be a relatively simplistic game in style, a kind of next-gen micro machines if you like, but as a console release having it run at 4K makes perfect sense. From a bird's eye view, that extra pixel density gives clarity to floor textures and plants down below, high contrast info where some details can be lost at this distance with the regular PS4's 1080p image. Now in terms of the core visual makeup, there's not a huge amount to divide the two otherwise. You get slightly tweaked foliage across stages, but the vehicle and track geometry, shadows and post-processing effects like bloom are all the same between PS4 and PS4 Pro. What we do notice is a slight shift in colour hue on the PS4 Pro side, perhaps a side effect of using a different colour space, but either way it's fundamentally the same game, but incredibly running at 4 times the pixel count on the right. Curiously, that 4K resolution is backed by no anti-aliasing at all, but it doesn't exactly need it. The image looks crisp enough at a distance. The standard PS4 meanwhile runs at 1080p backed by 2 times multi-sample anti-aliasing, which helps clear up any outstanding jagged edges. Both look great, but the Pro version definitely has the edge in terms of delivering a more pristine image. Another point worth mentioning is running the PS4 Pro version at 1080p simply downscales that 4K image, basically super sampling each frame to give a very clear result. What this means is when you run the PS4 Pro version in this 1080p mode, noisy visual elements like trees don't flicker as much as the standard PS4. So the choice is yours, either 4K with no AA or 1080p with super sample AA. But let's turn our attention to performance now to see how well PS4 Pro actually copes with this higher pixel count. Developer Voofoo has told us these PS4 Pro captures are the launch code we'll be playing at the console's release, but it's worth noting that they are still optimizing for it, presumably for a patch around or just after launch. So we'll have to see if there's any improvements later on, but right now the situation is clear. The standard PS4 game runs almost perfectly at 1080p and 60fps, barely a single drop in all these solo races, but as you've seen, the PS4 Pro running at 4K on the right does have a few occasional struggles with all cars on screen, causing stutters to the mid-50s. It's most obvious at the gridlock on courses like caves, and with VSync enabled, it manifests as an obvious stutter as the camera pans around. Now obviously once all the cars splinter off into packs, that evens out to a smooth 60fps again. For the majority of the time it's perfectly smooth, but it's an interesting early insight into the development of Mantis Burn Racing as it strikes for that locked 60fps at 4K. But that's the career mode. What about multiplayer? Well, you get split screen modes for up to 4 players here, which is fantastic. The catch is that with 2 players on screen, the game still targets 60fps. Now on PS4 Pro, it's a stretch too far to have dual viewpoints of the same racecourse, doubling the rendering load for geometry. The real stress points are again with too many AI cars on screen, which brings the engine down for long stretches at 50fps. It really doesn't feel great to play like this and could have benefited from a 30fps cap. That's PS4 Pro at 4K, and we see the exact same issue on the standard PS4 at 1080p. Again, we have frame rates languish at the 50fps line in a matching test, creating a distracting choppy effect to all camera motion. Not much between the two versions at all, but the good news is bumping the player count up to 4 kicks in a 30fps cap. Here's the PS4 Pro an example, rendering out 4 separate viewpoints of the stage, with each player given a full 1920 by 1080 resolution window to enjoy by themselves. It's incredible stuff, and Voofoo has definitely made the right choice here by locking to a half refresh 30fps. It creates a far more consistent experience for everyone playing, and we're doubtful it'd be much fun to play with it unlocked. That's about a wrap for now though. Oh, one thing before I go, here's a look at the Xbox One version frame rates compared to the regular PS4. Again, outside of some minor differences in foliage detail, creating a thicker look to trees on PS4, there isn't much between the two visually, and performance is rock solid from what we've tested so far. The exciting news for us though is how our first native 4K title on PS4 Pro is shaping up, and even with those frame rate drops, we'd say the outlook is positive. Only a few weeks to go until the Pro hardware itself launches, and we can't wait to get testing to see what it can do. So if you're just as excited as I am to see more PS4 Pro in action, don't forget to like and subscribe below. We've plenty more analysis videos in store on that front. That's all for now though, so thanks for watching and catch you next time.